Hi everyone, it's JoJo from Mojo Jojo Plans, and today we are back with what's on my shelf, but this one is going to be organized with me edition because I need to redo this shelf. So on this specific bookcase, I have all of my Happy Planner sticker books, and it goes all the way up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 rows right now, and they're all full. I have like 2 bins down at the bottom that aren't completely full of these bins, but basically once I put whatever's in there, like for the next couple releases, it's gonna be full. And I know I should just get rid of some of the books because there are some that I haven't used in years. And honestly, this was my thing. Okay, so I have every single Happy Planner sticker book up to, I think, spring release of this year because I actually didn't buy everything in this year's spring release. And that's the first time since 2016 that I haven't bought every single sticker book. Now, say what you will, it was a problem. And it was one of those things where it started, and it started out nice. We only got like 4 books. Next time they did like 6 books, something like that. And I was like, I can keep up with this. And then they started doing like 20, 30 book releases. And then I was like, what am I even doing? But it was to the point where like I had them. And I think in my brain, my little ADHD brain was just like, challenge accepted. I can 100% collect all of those books. And I kind of just looked at it as like collecting them. And so finally this year I sat down and I was like, this is a real problem. I need to calm down. And so this year I kind of decided I wasn't going to buy all the books anymore. I was only going to buy the books that I really liked. And it's been working so far. So for spring release, for the like back to school release, I only bought the sticker books that I liked, and I didn't buy really anything else. So proud of myself for that. But that being said, we need to kind of go and fix this shelf. So let's talk about what's on the shelf first before we actually get into organizing it. So again, all my Happy Planner sticker books are in here, and they are stored in these fun little bins. I got them on Amazon. I'll link them down below. They're actually really great. They fit Happy Planner sticker books perfectly. And if you have, these are Ikea bookshelves. If you have them, it fits 5 across perfectly, like nice and snug. They fit perfect on the Ikea shelves. So if you're looking for a way to store your books, these are a really great option. I have about 25 sticker books in each. Now, I technically could have a little bit more. I want to say I could have like 1 or 2 more, but because I have the rings at the top of the books, it kind of takes up more space and kind of like expands them like an accordion. So then it kind of makes it hard to put more in there. But if I push on the bottom of this, like I could fit 2 more. So you have potentially the ability to fit 27 books if you don't have the rings on the top. The rings are from Hobby Lobby. I've just gotten them over the years. When I first started, it was when Hobby Lobby still did coupons. So I would go every now and then, use a coupon, buy 1 or 2. They're not that expensive. They're like less than $2 for a pack of 12, I think. So obviously when I have over 700 books, yes, over the years, it kind of added up. But yeah, so we were just in it over the last couple of years. Anyway, so I was trying to think of how could I make more room for sticker books. One, I know I need to do a de-stash. I really need to go through all the sticker books and really just, now that I'm okay with like, it took me this long, you guys, like, let's just understand. It took me this long to be like, I don't need to have every single book. I think I kind of have decided like Disney sticker books. Yes, I think those are always going to be ones that I'm going to reach for and buy because I love Disney. But I was like, everything else, like, unless it has like a lot of vibes that I actually like, I'm just not going to do it. So it took me this long to get to that point. I think it's going to take me a little bit longer to like be okay with actually letting things go because this is like my serotonin shelf. Like this is just like the shelf I look at and it just brings me pure joy. But the reality is I don't have room in my office to expand this section on any other shelves. Like this one bookshelf is the only place that this stuff can be placed. And I'm actually getting to the point where I need room for other things, mainly my old planners. So if you watched part one of the what's on my shelf, and I will link it down below, or I'll have it pop up somewhere at the end of, as like the end screen, whatever. If you saw over on this side, I have all of my old planners. Well, my big planners, I actually need a bigger shelf. So I was hoping to get rid of the sticker books completely on this shelf and let that be for all of my planners that I save, because I keep all of my planners. I've had every single one of my planners since 2015. So I keep all of those, but my hope is that I can free up some space somehow with the stickers, so that way I can at least designate this spot for overflow of my planners. I have room on the other side, but I'd rather keep them all over here. But I kind of figured out, I was like, what if I just got rid of the bins? Okay, just go with me. I don't know, I might hate this when I do it, but I just figured we'll do it together and kind of see what happens. Because if I hate it, I hate it. It's fine. Like, we'll change it back. It's going to be a pain in the butt, but at least I will have tried it. And the hope is that this is going to give me more room. So my idea was to get rid of all of the bins and actually turn the books on their side, and then use more shelves, so that way I could have them, like, basically have the shelves not be this tall is the idea, and put them all this way, and then they'll just no longer be. The nice thing about that is I'll be able to see the spine, so I'll be able to see exactly what book it is. They all have the numbers that I've put on them as well. So when looking for specific books, I think it's going to be a lot easier, because right now, like, I, for the most part, know around what numbers are on each shelf, but I do kind of have to do the pull it out, look at it, see if I could find, and then put it back in. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I'm thinking if I do it this way, I might be able to save some space. I don't know, you guys. I know I need to just do a de-stash, but I'll eventually do that. But I don't think I'm, like, I got to get through this first. And then I think once I can see everything, then I can kind of go through and readjust later. So we'll have to de-stash at a different time. That's not this video. So in order to get more shelves, the nice thing about Ikea is you can buy everything a la carte. I think I just hit the microphone. I'm so sorry. But you can buy everything a la carte. So these are actually the shelves for these bookshelves that you can buy by themselves. So the last couple of times over the last year, I want to say, like, I've been thinking about doing this for a while, you guys. It's been a hot minute, but I just, like, haven't gotten to it. Every now and then when we went to Ikea, I was like, oh, let's go look and see if they have these in stock. Because most of the time, they never had the white in stock. Like, every time I went, they had every other color, but they didn't have white. So every time we went up to Denver, I would be like, can we stop by Ikea real quick and just go check? Because online was just super unreliable. So I was like, I'm not going to deal with that. They always had all the other colors. And at first I was going to resign myself to just getting a different color and then either just painting them or putting wallpaper on them. So that way this look would just look different. But then I just, like, that never really, like, settled well with me. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. So instead, thankfully, one time we went to Ikea, a few times. I want to say it was like 2 or 3 trips we were lucky enough to find. So every now and then I kind of bought like 3 or 4 of them, whatever they had. They are $10 a piece, but it is better than buying a whole new shelf. And I still wouldn't have had enough shelves to do what I want to do. So I have a couple that I brought in my office, and the goal is to get them in here like so, and kind of basically split each of these shelves in half. And in my mind, I feel like I'll be able to fit the same amount of stickers per shelf, but I don't know. This might not work. So because there is a middle, I hope you can see, am I right? Okay. Because there is a middle shelf that this one is actually screwed in, like when you actually build the shelf, this one you can't move, like this is the only shelf in here. I'm going to base it from here and go up to here. Like, the goal is to keep this one. And then, so I'm hoping that means I can fit 4 shelves in between this area. And then we'll have another 6 shelves going down, I think is what that would be. So changing it to 10 shelves of stickers. And the hope is that I'll be able to fit everything that I have on here in those spots. If I can't, then yes, that means we will start going through and de-stashing. But I'm just going to try this and see if it works. If it doesn't work, That's a bummer. I also have been buying these because I do have my sticker books on the next shelf over, and because they are heavy, it causes the bookshelves, it causes like the shelf itself to kind of bow a little bit. So I do, and every now and then they do break. I have had to switch out an entire bookcase before, but it's not super often. So I always just thought like having these on handy so I can swap out super warped shelving works. Yes, I know there's other things I could do to like combat that, but then I take up space and I just never wanted to do that. So I have also just been buying these for this project, but also so I have shelves as a backup so I can swap them out on the bookshelf that actually holds my sticker books because they are really heavy and the amount that I store on there, you know, it kind of just like makes them bow a little bit. So we're going to try this. I'm going to just have this like fast forwarded because I don't know, like this is going to take forever. But I did want to just kind of like show you and take you on the journey of doing this. So again, I'm going to start from this middle one because I can't move this one. We'll measure, and the hope is that I can split this right in half and that there'll be enough room to put the sticker book on the side on both. Obviously, if that doesn't work, then that's going to change my plan. But the hope is to not have to move this shelf because I need this shelf at this size because that's what's going to fit my big happy planners there, which are what are going to have to go there is my big, you know, full size happy planners. So I can't really move this shelf either. So we're going to start at the top and kind of work our way down. I got to pull everything off first. So I'll pull off these first 3 shelves and then we'll go from there. I'll put on some music, I guess, so that way, yeah, and then maybe once I kind of get an idea of what this is looking at, we'll do a check-in. So let's go ahead and get started. Quick little check-in of the books that I have taken off of the shelf and just stuck on the floor. Okay, we got the shelves up and they did work perfectly in that space to fit. So now I have 4 shelves and the in between. So that means I will be able to do the 6 going down. So I'm giving myself 10 shelves just between those. Now, the hope is once I start putting books on the shelf, that's actually going to still translate. Because technically, if I'm thinking about it, which I know if I was good at math, like I might be doing this for nothing. I'm not good at math, but since there's 25 in each and I was able to fit 5 in the bins, like, am I going to actually be able to fit that many sticker books per shelf? Or is it going to matter because I gave myself more shelves? I'm sure somebody that's good at math could probably figure that out. But guess what? I'm not good at math. So, oh well. So I'm going to start laying things down. I just used the books to kind of help me measure and figure out exactly where I was going to set stuff. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. I think I'm going to go for number up. And on the older books, it's a little harder because these ones didn't have the names on them. So I put them on there. So it might mean I have to go back in and flip things. So we'll kind of just have to see how it goes. But let's go ahead and start getting actual sticker books on the shelf. Okay, so I was only able to fit 3 full bins. And I will say if I didn't have the rings on the books, I would definitely be able to fit more because you could just see like there's gapping because of the rings. Like the rings are in the way, but these books are all, especially these older ones, they're all falling apart. So it's kind of like we got to deal with the rings. I know there have been people that have taken the elastic off and tied that on the top, and I think that's a little less bulky. But I didn't like the idea of taking the elastic off, so I just never did that option. And that's why I always did the little rings because I just think it looks a little bit cleaner. But I mean, let's keep going. Let's see how many total I can get, and then maybe that'll help us figure out, am I actually going to be able to fit this all? Again, if I was good at math, I could definitely figure that out beforehand, but I hate math and I'd rather just try it. Sometimes I just got to see it to believe it. You know what I mean? So let's just keep going. Oh, okay. I actually think this is gonna work pretty well. So I've gotten 3, 6, I can't count. 3, 6, 9, 12. I've gotten 12 bins so far that were on all those shelves. I only have 3 that didn't make it onto the shelves out of the books that I initially took off of here. So I feel like I'm still going to have room, especially because down at the bottom I have 2 bins that aren't completely full. So I think I'm going to actually, I have 1 bin that's not full at all, that doesn't have anything in it technically because I didn't put books back now that I'm looking at it. So I think this is going to work. So I'm going to keep it going and we're just going to finish it out and kind of see. I kind of like the look, like it's kind of like nice. It's not as like clean as the bins, which is what I was kind of worried about. But it's kind of like I either got to do this or I have to do some massive destashing to free up a lot more shelves, which yes, I should do that anyway, but I just don't have time to do it right now. And I think it's going to honestly take me a really long time. Like maybe I can do 1 shelf at a time and kind of start going through some of the books because I know I definitely could do that. So I think I'll probably do that, but let's at least just keep going. Now, you might be asking, what am I going to do with all of these bins? Because I have another 15 that I haven't taken out, and then I have 15 that I have already taken off the shelf. So I have a total of 30 of these bins. Well, let me tell you, I have never gone without having to need a storage somewhere in my life. Like my office has gone through so many different storage options. I think in the last couple years, I recently got into like just having the nice clean acrylic look. But before then, I was like, if I found purple baskets, I would get those. Or I had the weaved baskets at some point from Target. Like I had so many different options. And guess what? They're all being used some capacity in my house. So there's actually some areas in my house that I've been wanting to organize. And I was like, we can use these. And these actually kind of stack, not well, but they do stack a little bit. So I do have uses for these in my actual house, like toiletry stuff in our pantry closet or linen closet, not pantry, well, pantry too, but linen closet. So I know I'm going to still be able to use these. And if I ever decide that I hate this and want to go back and I do destash enough in order to where I can put these back, and technically those still fit on there. So that's pretty exciting. So that might be an option, as well as as long as I put stuff in there that's flat, that's not sticking up. This could be an option. So I could probably keep a couple in here in my office, but let's go ahead and continue with removing the rest of the shelves and then getting the rest of the books on the shelves. Okay. We did it. We did it. Oh, my AC hasn't been on this whole time and I am dying. Okay, so I got them all to fit. And I would say it helped save me a little bit of space considering I only had room in here for one more bin on that bottom shelf that was completely empty. I had like some room in this bin, just a little bit to stick a little bit more in there, but I did not, like, I would have only had that space. So I feel like now I kind of got a whole nother bin full for sure. So maybe I didn't save space, but again, I need to go through and I need to pull out books that I don't use, that I bought just because, like, I still have a lot of that to do. But I don't think it looks terrible. And now I gave myself that top shelf. So actually, really, I saved room in the fact that I freed up an entire shelf compared to before where I didn't have that shelf. So I will say I did save. This was more space saving. It would be even more space saving if I didn't have the rings on the books. So I feel like that's valid. Like, I would have a lot more space if I didn't have those, but it's just like these books fall apart so easy. A good majority have fallen apart. I think it would drive me crazy. A thought I did have was, I was like, oh, I could have them off of the rings on the shelves. And then when I go to use the books, I could put on a ring. That way, like, when I'm actually actively flipping through, it's not falling apart. But that's just like more steps in life that I don't need. So for right now, I think this is going to work. I'm just proud that literally spacing these out that way, I was able to give myself 10 shelves, and I have that top shelf now. Now I could put all my memory planners up there, because that was the biggest issue. Again, if you saw the first video of what's on my shelf, is my memory planners have kind of started going onto 2 of those smaller shelves. So I think if I can just keep them all on this big shelf, it'll be a lot better because they are a lot bigger. So I just needed a bigger shelf for that. And now I can put some cute decorations up there. For right now, I did put these bins down here because otherwise these are just going to fall over when they're not being held up. I will also, like, an issue I will have is whenever I pull out books, I'm going to have to find where it goes. So I got to figure out like a good like space saver, so that way I just like can easily insert a book back where it goes when I do take it out. But at least I can see all the numbers, I can see all the names, so it's going to be a lot easier to find stuff, I think, at least for me. So I think the next step will be going shelf by shelf and then trying to destash and get rid of some of my books, because I'm well aware this is a problem. This was a problem. I'm doing better now. I'm not buying everything, especially because I don't use them as often. I find myself using small shop stickers more, but it's just like, this is like a serotonin boost, And so it's like, it's one of those things where I was like really proud of for a really long time. And now I'm just like, that's a problem. We have a problem. So yeah. So anyway, I think overall this was a success. I gave myself a whole shelf, and I still have room down here at the bottom. Once we destash, maybe we'll be able to free up this entire shelf once I'm able to kind of go through and destash, and that'll give me a little bit more space. So we'll try this out for a little while. I don't know. Again, I know it doesn't look as clean. It definitely would look a little cleaner if I didn't have the rings on it, but it is fun to look at. So it's a good little booster. So I think that's good. Let me give you one last little view of what it's looking like so you can see the whole shelf. And then we'll go from there. And then I don't know what I'm going to do about going through these books. It always takes me so long because I'm like, what if I end up needing that book later? What if I want to do this with that book later? But sometimes you just got to do it. But now I have a bunch of bins that now I can take into my house and finally organize things in my house, which I'm really excited about, which is why I haven't organized those things, because I was like, I have bins. I just need to do this project and then I can do that. So I think this was a success. I gave myself the space that I was wanting to have. And then now we can kind of go through, and I think it'll be a little less. Ooh, and something I could do is I could put labels on each one just to make it a little extra easier with my handy dandy label maker. And I could put 1 through blah, blah, blah on each shelf. So I know, if I'm looking for a book that's in the 200s, I'm looking at these 2 shelves or something like that. So I could go through and do that, but that's probably better to do after I destash some things, and figure out what I'm going to do with those. So let me give you a last little look of what we're looking like. Okay, so we freed up that top. I'm going to put all my memory planners, which are on that shelf and on that shelf, so they'll be able to take up that space, and I'll still have room for some decorating. But here's a last view of this shelf in full. Crazy. I'm well aware. I'm well aware this is like, nobody needs this many stickers. Well aware, but you know, it made my heart happy at the time when I was doing this and purchasing all these. So we're just gonna, we'll blame it on past me. That's what we'll blame it on. Alrighty guys, thank you for sticking in there. If you watch this entire video, let me know what you guys think. I mean, I think it's going to serve my purpose of what I need, as far as like, I needed that top shelf, so I needed to give myself more space. I know this doesn't look as clean, but what do we think? What do we think about this method? Again, these are Ikea shelves. So even if you're trying to figure out spacing, again, those, the little storage cubes, what are they called? The organizers that I have, the little storage bins, my gosh, my brain, they do fit on this. So if you even have something that you're trying to organize that's flat, that you could stick in those bins, again, you could fit 5 across of those bins and they would fit perfectly on the shelf too. So even if you have other things that you need to organize, this is, I think, a really great option. Like, Ikea shelf is a really great option. And I think the nice thing too is each of these shelves no longer has as many sticker books on them, because remember, I was only able to fit 3 of those bins per shelf, and normally they had 5 of those bins. So these shelves should last longer because they don't have as much weight. They're missing 2 bins on them worth of sticker books plus the bins. So really, these should be more like, they should be better for these shelves overall. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me for a while I figured this out. I figured I might as well film it because I was like, I'm going to do it anyway. Let's take you along. And that way we can look at this shelf, and then we'll have another part of going over the rest of my shelves in my office. But I so hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I hope I'll see you in my next one. Bye!